Hairblazer, if your loved one with dementia has become mean, sharp, or cruel with their words or behavior, there is something I want you to know right away. You are not imagining it, and you are not failing as a caregiver. This is one of the most painful changes that a family member can experience because it doesn't just feel difficult, it feels personal. Caregivers often tell me, he never spoke to me that way before. He says things that cut so deeply. Sometimes they tell me, I feel like I'm actually seeing who they really are now, or they fear this must be what they have really thought about me all these years. And alongside that hurt, many caregivers often feel anger and then guilt for feeling that anger. Today, I want to explain what exactly is happening in the brain that causes this, why it's not necessarily their personality, their true personality being revealed, and how to understand it in a way that protects both your heart and your sanity. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this happens, what helps in the moment, and how to stop carrying blame that does not belong to you. Let's name what this actually looks like. Your loved one might snap at you for small things. They might make harsh or insulting comments to you about you. They may accuse you unfairly, use a sharp or angry tone with you, almost like they resent you. Maybe they just seem cold or indifferent toward you. And for many caregivers, this behavior is new. It's not how they treated you for decades. It's not how they raised you if you're caring for a parent. It's not how they showed love before dementia. And that's what makes this so devastating because it doesn't just hurt, it makes you question everything. So here's the most important piece I want you to hear. This is not their personality coming out. This is not who they really are. And it's not dementia revealing this inner cruelty they've been carrying. What you are seeing is a brain that has lost its ability to regulate emotion and behavior. Cruelty in dementia is a loss of emotional breaks, not a loss of love. Here's a short brain-based explanation of what's happening. There are basically three key things that are happening. First, it's about the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the brain that filters what we say, that controls our inner impulses, that regulates our tone, and the part that causes us to pause before speaking. In fact, if you can think of a young child, maybe you've had this experience where the young child might say something to you or someone else that would be considered cruel if an adult said it, but because the child said it, we just assume, oh, they're a child, they don't know better. That's because their prefrontal cortex is not developed. So what's happening is we see it in younger children who might blurt out something about the person's weight or about how they look funny or what's the weird scar on your face. That's because the prefrontal cortex isn't developed. But when we're talking about dementia, the prefrontal cortex is experiencing deterioration. So we start to see those same behaviors happen in adults. So the filter that once stopped hurtful thoughts becoming hurtful words, it starts to deteriorate. That means the thoughts come out unedited, not because they want to hurt you, but because the brain no longer has the ability to put on the brakes. The second thing that is causing this is the amygdala. Now, the amygdala is the brain's alarm system. It's constantly scanning for threats. And in dementia, this part of the brain often strengthens while the parts of the brain responsible for reasoning weaken. That means neutral situations can feel threatening, simple questions can feel overwhelming, minor frustrations can feel unbearable. The result we end up seeing is increased irritability, suspiciousness, defensiveness, or anger, even though there isn't anything dangerous happening. And then the third thing that's often happening are changes in language and processing. So as dementia changes language, nuance disappears. Their ability to soften phrases vanishes. Their ability to find the words that they might normally use disappears. That often looks like speech that is blunt, harsh, and short. So the person with dementia is often feeling fear, anxiety, distress, but it can no longer regulate those feelings or translate those feelings to you in a way that feels respectful and calm. And here's something that caregivers rarely hear, but is important for them to know. The people who receive the harshest behavior are often the people that the person with dementia feels the safest with. So you are the one who is closest. You are the one who is most familiar. You are the one who is their constant. So when emotional regulation fails, the unfiltered emotions are going to go toward you. You're the one there. It doesn't mean you caused it, and it doesn't mean you deserved it, but it does mean you are the safest person and place in their brain. And that's where they're landing all of their emotions on you. So many caregivers have asked me, is this who they were all along? And I want to be very clear. Losing emotional control doesn't reveal their true moral character. Just like somebody losing their balance doesn't reveal who somebody really is, losing their emotional regulation doesn't reveal their true cruelty inside. Dementia removes inhibition, not values. It removes regulation, not history. It removes filters, not love. This is not a personality reveal. This is a neurological injury. Now, because this is a brain-based behavior, there are some reactions that can make it worse. So what are we going to do when this happens? The things to minimize or avoid doing that typically make it worse are going to be things like arguing back, correcting their tone, demanding apologies, asking, why would you say something like that? Trying to teach them a lesson. All of these require brain systems to work that are no longer working. These attempts assume that the brain can reflect, regulate, and repair. Those are the things the brain is struggling to do. So instead, what helps in the moment is to respond to their emotion, not their words. So we want to lower our voice, slow our pace that we're talking, reduce stimulation that's happening all around. And if needed, absolutely step away if needed. Take a couple of deep calming breaths yourself. Sometimes the most regulating thing you can do for yourself is just to pause and create space. But I do want to say that compassion and understanding what's happening, that their brain is struggling, it does not mean we have to tolerate abuse. If behavior ever becomes physically unsafe or even emotionally unsafe for you, protecting yourself is not cruel, it's necessary and it's acceptable. Understanding the brain doesn't mean that we have to sacrifice our own well-being. If this behavior is happening and it hurts you, it absolutely makes sense. If it makes you angry, that makes sense. If you feel grief and resentment at the same time, that makes sense. Understanding dementia, understanding how it's impacting the behavior, it doesn't erase pain, but it can help you stop carrying any blame you might be putting on yourself for what you're seeing. So if dementia has made your loved one seem more cruel or mean, remember that you are not seeing their true self. You're seeing a brain that has lost its filters. Their history with you still exists. You can still hang on to beautiful memories you have with them, even if their brain can't remember those memories and their brain can no longer protect the history that you guys had together. If this is happening regularly and really wearing on you, you don't have to carry it alone. You can surround yourself with support, compassion, and clarity from other people who truly get it by joining support groups or even talking to close friends or family that you trust about what's going on. We certainly have support rooms multiple times a week inside of our Care Collective program if you want to check that out. But there are probably support rooms right in your local area that you can have access to as well. I've said it before and I will say it again. You are doing an incredibly difficult but meaningful job here with your loved one Careblazer, and I'm sending you so much love.
Also, Nico gets a belly rub for every person who subscribes from this video. So if you haven't already, click the red subscribe button. It's totally free, and Nico says thank you very much.